Hello, everybody. Dale Dickerson, Coach Jason Russell, the Coaches Show. Coach, high feeling after the first game and low feeling after this one. It was a tough loss.
Yeah, it's a long season, first off, and you have the ebbs and flows of a season. You can't get too excited, too high on the wins, and you can't get too low on the losses. You've got to understand that each game is an opportunity to learn, and we got our nose bloodied pretty good on Friday night. There's no doubt about it. But we had a fantastic film session yesterday. We're going to take what we saw on film, and we're going to fix those things. We're going to come in and be a better football team because we've made these mistakes once, and that's what I always request to the kids. Like, look, you can make mistakes in life. Just don't keep making the same mistake. Let's fix it and let's move forward.
I've heard a lot of coaches say, don't let a loss cause you a second loss by
That's right.
looking back and repeating the same mistakes.
That's right. You want to fix the problems, but you don't want to dwell on it to a point where you make yourself. You don't want to lose confidence because you have one loss. We have a really good football team. We still have lots of football ahead of us. All of our goals, with the exception of an undefeated season, are all still right ahead of us, and there's none of that has changed. We just need to rally back together and go back to work.
We talked last week when we were talking about this game that you said they had a really good quarterback, and I tried to get the game on the broadcast, and I couldn't get it. But from watching the film, their quarterback is very good.
Very, very talented. He had one play in the game. It was one of their touchdowns. We did a good job rushing him. He was able to flush out of the pocket. We didn't quite keep our contain on the rush, but we pressured him. He rolled out to his right, ran about 10 or 15 yards to his right. The outside receiver to the left ran all the way across the field. And this is probably about 6 or 7 seconds after the ball is snapped. He throws it off his back foot 55 yards and hits the guy in stride for a touchdown. I mean, just the kid can play. And, in rhythm, slinging it out there, hitting guys, in step, and he was fearless back there. I thought that kid had a great game. He's got a big time future.
Okay. We have any injuries or anything happened out last week?
We got a couple kids dinged up, nothing major.
Okay. All right, that's good. 'Cause you're always scared in these pre-conference games, getting somebody hurt and affecting you like we had last year down in the regular season.
Yep.
Any highlights on our offense or defense you want to talk about this week?
No, honestly, it wasn't our best game really anywhere. I thought offensively, our running backs probably played the best of anybody on offense. I thought defensively, probably our defensive line. They kept pressure on them constantly, and really forced him to move in the pocket, get rid of the ball quick. They hit him multiple times. If you look at the game, we got pressure, we stopped them, and then all of a sudden it was just big play. We got big played to death, in the game. And if you take away, I think it was 6 or 8 plays in the game, then they don't gain basically 100 yards of offense. It all came on those big plays. But that being said, you can't have those breakdowns because explosive plays like that change the outcome of a game very quickly.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't get a stat sheet. We had some internet problems to get the stats sent to us. But looking at the huddle plays, it looks like most of their scores were just large plays. They didn't have any 1-yard plunges or anything for touchdowns. It were all long passes.
No, we've done a really good job this season of stopping the run. We continued to do that the other night. They did have one big run play where we missed a tackle and then we lost contain on the edge. But beyond that, I think they had about 20 yards of rushing other than that. And, so we're continuing to stop the run. Passing wise, we've struggled. We're returning 2 starters on defense, and that shows. We've got some really talented kids, I feel like, back there, but they just have to get used to covering guys. And when you have players like they do and a quarterback that can get that ball to them, if you make a mistake, they're gonna make you pay for it, and that's what we saw on Friday night.
We talked a little bit last week when the quarterback scrambles. Sometimes that defensive back wants to peek in the backfield and loses contain.
That's right.
And that may have happened again this week a little bit.
It did. We had a little bit of issues with that, and we didn't have very many blown coverages. It was just getting beat in coverage.
Yeah.
And, so we're going to change a couple of things. Defensively, we're going to still have our base stuff. Because when it comes down to conference play, we've really got to be able to stop the run. I mean, that's what's coming in the conference. And so you don't want to just completely abandon. Again, we talked about if you completely abandon and change everything you're doing, now you're at risk of letting one team beat you twice because you've lost confidence in everything you're doing. We've still schematically, we've got a good scheme. Again, we've got young players that need to continue to learn that scheme. We're going to do a couple things, just tweaks to our defensive system that will help us. But no, I think our kids are going to be fine. They just have to. They need to learn from this. The old coaching adage is you make your most improvement from week 1 to week 2. Well, week 1 was such a lopsided win. We didn't face enough adversity, in my opinion, to be a catalyst for change and get better. We'd faced that on Friday night. So we got a lot of good film. We watched every single snap together in film session yesterday. So I think that's going to really help us get better.
Okay, we got just a few highlights we're able to put together here. So let's take a look at some of these highlights.
All right, we start out here with the opening play of the game. This is our first offensive snap. We run a midline option read right here, and we take it. Great run, good read by Raheem. Big time play off the beginning of the game. We end up with 3 points on that drive, so it's 3-0 us. We executed very well. I felt like they missed a call on a fade ball. We ran into the end zone, and they actually had their hand in our collar, holding us back, and we were trying to catch the fade. So we missed that touchdown, but we ended up getting the 3 points. And then we come back on defense. We start out playing pretty well that first series. We stop them 3 and out, but they call a penalty on 3rd down. We stop them again. After 3 more plays, they call a penalty on 3rd down. So at this point, they've got negative 6 yards of offense, yet they've matriculated the ball down the field. And that in itself really hurt our kids because, and I talk to our kids, you're going to face adversity, especially going to somebody else's place, especially with going to a different school and a different even officials association. You're going to face adversity. You just got to keep playing. You got to keep plugging away. You got to keep working. I don't think we did a good enough job of that. I think we kind of lost a little bit of confidence right there in what was going to happen in the game. That we got frustrated, and it showed on the field as well.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I think we got a touchdown here coming up. No, this is just another long run here. I think you said it was Raheem.
Yeah, it's just a broken down pass play. He didn't find an open receiver, and he just took off running and made a good run, made something out of nothing.
All right, next one.
This is our touchdown. One of our touchdowns here. We drove it all the way down the field. This is just after half. I was proud of our kids. I challenged them at halftime. I wasn't happy with the way we played in the first half. They weren't happy with how they played in the first half, and so I challenged them at halftime to come out and and play their absolute best, and we have a chance to claw our way back in the game. We go down, we take the initial offensive possession, we go down, we score. Unfortunately, we kicked the ball off, and they returned the kick after that, and so that kind of took a little bit of the wind out of that. But we got ourselves back in the game because at that point, I think it was 27-10. We're right back in the game. We have a high-powered offense, and if we can start things clicking, we had an opportunity to jump right back in the game. But again, momentum was cut there, and we did end up scoring again. But that was a good run by Kylan Rhodes right there. Brought in a couple of defensive guys to be the battering rams and run block right there for us.
Okay, I think we got this last touchdown. Raheem scrambles, I think, scores pretty touchdown here.
Yeah, he makes a good run right here. We're throwing the pass. He doesn't find an open receiver, and so he just takes off and makes a good play right here. The guy dives down in his ankles, literally rolls on the ground underneath him. He just steps over him into the end zone and scores a touchdown.
Okay. All right, well, let's talk about next week. We got Horn Lake coming up. It's I think it's our second oldest rivalry in the county, so be a big game for us to kind of bounce back. So.
Well, right now we're starting rivalry stretch. I mean, we're going to be playing rivalry games after rivalry games. So we've got this game, and then next week we're at Lewisburg, and then the next week we're home versus DeSoto Central, and then we got a bye week, and then we play at home, or we play at Center Hill. So literally it's back to back to back to back. Rivalry games. We're definitely not looking past this one. Horn Lake. Coach Jackson, of course, coached here at Olive Branch, so I know this one means a lot to him. It's going to mean a lot to his kids. They are a vastly improved football team. They're 0-2 right now, but they have greatly improved from what they looked like last year. They're playing very, very hard on defense. Those guys are flying around and making plays. They lost last week, but they lost to a good Lafayette team by 7 points. So they're getting better, and you just don't want to look past anyone. It's going to be a tough game. Last year, I think it was probably the most physical game we played of the entire season.
Yes.
There were some big time hits on both sides of the ball, and I look for it to be that way this week. And if you don't come ready to play, you're not going to be successful.
Okay. Well, Friday night we'll be at Pool Field. Is kickoff 7 or 7:30?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Hope to see everybody there. If you can't, you can tune in to OBTV Live. We'll have the game there, and we'll be back next Monday with the Coaches Show. So thank y'all for tuning in this morning.